what can we do better, particularly around movement and how do we become more accessible. This is a very important initiative for me, and so I want to hear directly from you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Now, when I was in school, I came with a lot of energy. You know, when I say, is that okay? It was like, you know, yes, let me feel it. Let me feel it. It's early in the morning, so let's wake up together. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right, there you go.
Okay, does anybody want to kick us off? Who? Now, I said we're going to be Brooklyn about this, y'all.
Well, I don't have to like go out on my own and all that. I usually just get chaperoned by my parents because it's just a lot more convenient. But when I go out on my own, I don't know how I'm gonna get around. I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with the crowd and like see which like bus routes to take, like which ones, like which trains have like elevators and all that. I know it's not gonna be easy. I'm just gonna have to find a way. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. So now, what about you? As soon as I leave Borough Hall, I'm gonna wear my earring again. Come on, give me your thoughts. Tell me your name first.
My name is Omar.
Omar?
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Omar.
Nice to meet you. I don't know. I don't really go, like you said, I don't go out that much. But when I do, it's like I don't really take Uber. But the bus and trains is cool. But like you said, like finding the train station, elevators, it's kind of like hard.
Now, help me understand something, because I heard both of you say the same thing. You said, I really don't go out that much?
Yeah.
Explain, help me understand that. Why? Is it because moving around is difficult? You know, tell me why.
Yeah.
So give me, as we talk, give me an ideal scenario, because the city can't be accessible to some, it has to be accessible to all. So here's your opportunity as we start to shape the city, as we start to say that in the 21st century we cannot continue to have an inaccessible city. So what can we do to remove those barriers? Because I want you to say, I go out all the time. That's what I want to hear you say. You know, 'cause I can't keep my son in the house. So I want you to say, I go out all the time. What must I do as the borough president to not only lead Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is the third largest city in America. So if we get it right, in Brooklyn, we're going to get it right in New York. And if we get it right in New York, we're going to get it right in America. And if we're going to get it right in America, we're going to get it right across the globe. So you are the beginning of America getting it right so the globe can get it right. So now, how do I have you change from I don't go out that much to say, you know what? After I spoke with the borough president, now I'm going out all the time. What do we need to do to change that? Yes.
My name is Joanna, and I go out sometimes, and I very love the automated traffic light that they have along like 82nd Street in Brooklyn, like around the Bensonhurst area. Those were amazing, and I seen them in the Pelham Parkway in the Bronx also. But I would love it if we can have more of those around Brooklyn, because they honestly help. I have a visually impairment, and it's sometimes very hard for me to see the light. So when the light starts to beep, beeping, and when I'm able to hear what's going on around me, it helps me travel and it helps me be more able.
Good stuff. Give it up. Let me hear that. Love that. So those who are visually impaired, I'm gonna come to you for one moment. We are. You notice something that technology has impacted everything, but the visual impaired walking stick. We teamed up with a group in Turkey, and we are about to bring the first app-based walking stick to America, and we're going to give them to a few schools to check them out, and we believe it's going to change the whole visually impaired conversation Murrow's one of them?
Murrow, we have one of the largest, visually impaired programs here.
So where's Kathleen?
Right here.
Kathleen, so let's get a couple of sticks here so we can try them out. This is going to change the game in visually impaired, because normally visually impaired, the walking sticks, you can only deal with something below. This new device is going to tell you what's overhead, what's around you. It's going to be an entirely different conversation. You was about to tell me something, young lady. What's your name? Tell me your name.
Hello, my name is Vera.
Okay, I got to feel some energy. You know, give me that name.
I'm so happy. I was thinking about where I can write the letter about the problems in train when I see. When I lived in Avenue H, there is only one side have the ramp, and I have to go to Kings Highway and change the go then on the platform and go all the way to the city.
Avenue H?
Yeah, in Avenue H.
Okay.
When elevator is not working in Kings Highway, you have to go to all the way to Coney Island because now Avenue U or Shipshead Bay or Brighton have an elevator, and you have to go 30 minutes back to go to the city, and it's so hard. Maybe there is I don't know, messages they can put quickly if it's not working.
Like it.
Yeah, and now I'm living in Avenue L, and I have to walk from Kings Highway to go to get home.
Like it. So would it make sense, let's say that there's a form of communication, some type of notification that will go out, let you know beforehand if it's not operating. You know, you get some type of text, some type of tweet, some type of information to let you know so you don't have to get there and then go to another location. Would that make sense?
Yeah, and if you can you put the elevator to Avenue M, it would solve all problems.
Elevator Avenue M. Okay, Mary. Okay. This is our opportunity here. Now, how many of you have you ever heard the term apartheid before? Apartheid? Huh? Have you? If you have heard, raise your hand. Apartheid was something that happened in South Africa, where the African Americans, the Africans in South Africa, was not allowed to live in South Africa. They were held back. And there was a group of students in Soweto who started the whole movement and changed what happened in South Africa to make sure that it was fair. These were all students. They were in junior high school, they were in high school, and they decided they wanted to change the life of South Africa. And so I share that with you because the winds of change have never been blown by adults. It has always been blown by young people. And this is your opportunity that don't allow you to believe that because you're in a wheelchair, because you're visually impaired, because of any reason that you can't change this city and make this city acknowledge your existence. This is your moment. And so that fight that you're talking about with ensure there's an elevator at a station, make us listen to you. Every day wake up and say to yourself, you are going to acknowledge my existence and you're going to listen to me because I matter. That's what I want you to understand and feel. You matter. You matter. And demand that we acknowledge that you matter. Demand it every day. Let it be part of your existence that I'm not going to live in the shadows of the greatest country on the globe because people don't understand it. I'm not going to let that happen to me. I matter, and you're going to listen to me, and I'm going to get the things I need that I don't have to say I'm staying indoors. I'm going to enjoy this city like everyone else. You with me?
Yes.
Okay, come on. I want to feel that energy. I want to feel that energy. Tell me what else. What else we need to do? Yes. Oh, I'm feeling it now. Come on.
I think you need to, when there's a step, you need to put Braille notification on it so the canes can feel.
Well, I like that.
There is some a step or a bump in the road so we don't trip over it and fall.
Okay, so now talk to me. So if you have the cane, will it be Braille on the ground?
Or a bumpy print on it. Braille related on it for the canes can identify that there's a trip or a step coming up.
So where will it be? When you're walking up a step, or when you get to the corner? Where would
When
it
we
be?
get to like a corner or a bump in the road,
Uh-huh.
a crack or something, for we can identify to step up the crack.
Okay,
not trip.
okay. I want you to help me figure out. What is your name?
Kayla Sweet.
Kayla? Okay, I want you to help me figure out how that should look. What's the design? We did curve out for seniors. We had a group of seniors who were saying it takes too long for us to cross the street. And they said if we can make curve out, it would be easier for us to have that path. And they helped us come up with the ideas, and so now we have curve outs in some of our corners by our senior centers. So I would like for you to help me design what that should look like. Is that a plan?
Yes.
Okay, great, great. What else? What else we need to do?
Hi, my name is Donna Kemmer-DC Biondo. I'm a disabled, functioning adult. I was born with cerebral palsy. Fortunately, it's mild, and I'm a DOE employee here helping the kids. But I have stopped taking the trains because I'm getting older, I'm slowing down a little, and it's just the 3 train routes along my route, all of them have lots of steps to go up. None of them have elevators, and they're so crowded, and it's just very difficult. So I take the buses, but now the bus system, with all these select buses that they made, they all go, there are so many that go express, and so few buses that run locally that, you know, I wait so long for the bus, or I have to walk to the express stops. I don't find this new select buses system and all these limited buses so helpful, because I think they need to have more local buses as well, because the disabled people have to walk to it takes me, by the time I walk, I might miss the next bus.
Interesting.
So I just, I just wanted to bring that up, and I used to younger take the train more, but the train is, a challenge these days.
Right.
I just-
First time I've ever heard about the select bus. We need to drill down on that some more. That's some great information. Who else? Yes, sir. I used to have hair that long, so I'm jealous.
I think that we need more events and social activities for junior high school and high school kids, are disabled and all that, because aside from in the parks, because you have just basketball, baseball, these sports, and there's to accommodate people in wheelchairs and all those other things. We need something fun, gaming tournaments. We need something fun for the kids, tournaments for the gaming and all, a lot of all that kind of stuff. We don't it needs to be fair for everybody, not just people who are able and all that stuff. It's not.
Love it. Help me understand this for a moment. 'Cause I know we have intramural leagues and games. Do we have it for those with physical impairments? Or do we have our PSAL? Do they have wheelchair basketball games? Do they have?
I don't mean sports. I mean actual video games, not those kinds of, because some kids, they can't be able to play some sort of sport.
Okay.
And they need to make it easier and fun for those individuals. So something like gaming tournaments, video games in the park, and something a convention in the Prospect Park. That would be pretty cool.
Love it. Where's Kathleen? Kathleen, we're going to. Can you team up with Kathleen for me? What's your name?
Julian Prince?
Julian. Okay.
Yeah.
You connect with Kathleen for me and help me iron that out and put it together?
Yeah, I'll connect and we'll iron it out. Set this whole thing up.
All right. Love it. Great idea. Come on, give me some more. Give me some more. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Tina, and I was wondering if you could somehow make the number on the public buses more accessible, because they're really small and sometimes it's not visible from the angle, or make it more noticeable so that we know what bus we're taking and not have to bombard everybody and tell them,
Right.
Mister, what bus is this, so I can get on the bus, because sometimes that's just
There's some good.
not accommodating.
That is amazing. Things we take for granted. You know, can we give it up for that? I love that a lot. No, you are bringing me to your side of the universe, that I'm no longer looking at it through where I stand, but I'm looking at it where you stand. That's where we have to bring the city. People who design those bus lettering, or people who don't have the little pieces on the ground and let you know when you come into a step, they're designing it from the view where they have it, not the view where you have it. So what you're doing today, you're allowing me to come into your view. That is so important, what you are accomplishing today. Because if you talk to some other politician, they're so arrogant that they think they got all the answers, but because I'm a D student, I got to learn from you and figure out how to do it right. So I need for you to give me more information so my staff can continue to find some solutions. So give me more. Give me more.
Come, Mr. Gore, right here.
Yes.
So our train station, Avenue M, was just redone recently. No input from the school. We have one of the largest special ed populations here, yet we have no access to that for the students in wheelchairs. So when we're planning trips, when Ms. Hadley's planning trips for them, she has to get yellow school buses that can't leave until 9:30 and have to be back by 1:30. So it limits the trips that the students in wheelchairs or the limited mobility students can actually do. So had they spoken to the school, we would have said you had to put an elevator for the students here, for this community.
Tell me about that time. Now, why 9:30, 1:30? Tell me about that.
Yellow school buses, because they're dropping off students in all other schools, so they have to finish their routes before they can come and pick up a trip. And they have to drop off by 1:30, because then they have to get to their routes to pick up for bringing students home.
Gotcha.
So it limits the time that the students can actually be on a trip.
There should have been a conversation with you. You know, there should have definitely been a conversation. That's the missing piece. More. Yes.
My name is Joanna. When I I live near the D train,
The D.
and then the D train. What happens with it is that it's very old, and its sound system is completely broken. I had an experience where I was trying to get to K-Town to 42nd Street, but I ended up in the Upper West Side of Manhattan because I have no idea where I'm supposed to get off. And it's very sad. Although I got very good ice cream from the experience, it was still not one of the best.
So you didn't hear the sound system?
No, the sound system was completely broken. They did not announce the stop. And,
So it was broken, they didn't announce the stop?
I'm not sure why, but
Okay.
the D train, they usually don't announce the stop and stuff like that.
Interesting. Give me a recommendation. So what needs to be done?
I think the D train should be like the Q train or the N train or the R train, where the stops are announced.
Okay, so let's find out. Is that find out, Kathleen?
Yep.
All right. So because that makes no sense. Oh, they all should be announced. And so let's find out. Is there a particular reason that one is not announced? Okay. How many of you use the new Accessoride program where you can take a taxi, Uber? You use it? Well, tell me your thoughts about it.
Well, especially because of the wheelchair Uber, it's really helpful for me. Because instead of me having to like get out of my chair to go onto on a regular seat, I can just slide in from the trunk, and then it makes it much easier.
Okay, so you give it an A+?
Yeah.
Okay, like it.
I use it all the time.
Love it. You are so articulate. Don't run from my office, you know?
And I actually
Yes.
have a train experience as well. I remember, I think it was 2 years ago, I was with a summer camp at the time, and we had to take the train, and there was no elevators, so like they had to take me, I think about like 5 or 6 flight of steps, and at one point like it got too much to handle, and then I went flying backwards.
Wow.
And I actually injured myself, and I had to go to the hospital the next day.
Wow. Interesting.
So I definitely think that we should have more like elevators for the train, aside from having one at and wherever else that they're located.
Okay. Well, out of everything I've heard today, what the two of you said has really struck me. I don't go outside much. That That can't happen. That cannot happen. You should be able to go outside whenever you want. Thank you so much, and I'm just really excited to be here at an amazing school, Edward R. Murrow High School, where one of our largest student bodies, not only in the borough of Brooklyn, but the city of New York. And as you walk through the hallways, you really feel the energy and the staff in their participation in really developing the full personhood of our children. It's more than academics. It is really developing the minds and the spirit and the energy of young people as they take upon the awesome challenges of inheriting a planet that adults have really just messed up. They have to fix what we destroyed, and they're doing it here in Edward R. Murrow as one of our many schools. I want to thank Principal Alan Barge, as well on Stefan Henry, who's an advocate for Brooklyn Center for Independence of the Disabled, a member of Accessible Ride, E-Hail Pilot, Patricia Logan, moral parent of a student with disability who will be speaking, Keith Prince, another moral parent of a student with disability, and Julian Prince. Julian gave us a great idea, and we're going to look to implement some of his activities. We have some of our local electeds who have joined us or will be joining us, State Senator Simca Felder, and my good friend Councilmember Carmen Yeager, and District Leader David Swartz, who is all here as well. Much of this conversation is around a report that we're looking to produce called Barrier Free BK. This is an important initiative. As I move through the borough, I attempt to really analyze how it is for those with some form of impairment. And we're going to be rolling out a series of things that we believe we can use technology to really enhance the experience of those who are moving through the city with any form of physical impairment. I think the most important conversation that resonated with me today, particularly from young people, were the two students who indicated that they don't go outside often. Nothing is more anti being a youth than the feeling you can't go outdoors, you cannot play, you cannot participate in the experience of being a young person. That cannot happen in the city of New York, and the most affluent city in the country and the most affluent country on the globe. We cannot continue to live in an antiquated mindset that because of some form of physical impairment that a person cannot experience the fullness of this city. That is not going to happen as I'm the borough president, and I'm going to be an advocate and voice for not only the young people, but the countless number of New Yorkers who are experiencing some form of impairment. You have over 1 million people who self-identify themselves as being some form of physical disability. You have over 345,000 of them are young people. And when you really drill down on the numbers, as we talk about transportation, 10% of those million are in some form of wheelchair. Yet our city has not done an adequate job of ensuring that you can move throughout the city with any form of wheelchair accessibility. And to hear a station was developed in this community, connected with this school, and no one came in here to talk to this school and say, what do we need to do to develop this MTA or train station? What it says in essence, it says you don't matter. How you feel, how do you utilize the system is not important enough for us to come in and do what I'm doing now, talk to these young people who must use that station coming from Bedford-Stuyvesant or other parts of the city. We said to them, you don't matter. And I'm saying to you, you do matter. And we're going to listen to what you have to say as we move forward. Andy Byford and the MTA board, they need to come in here and other schools like this and have a real conversation with the students that must utilize any form of transportation. Everything from making letters larger on the bus to making sure there's Braille type coding on the street and on steps. All the things that we need to do, we must make it happen. You can't say it's too expensive to ensure that our city is accessible. It is too expensive not to make our city accessible, because you are destroying the energy and the spirit of people who have so much to offer to our city. When I hear these young, articulate, intelligent students who want to contribute to this city are not given the opportunity to do so, there's only one response. We are better than this, and we must stand up to the cause and make sure that we send the right message. Barrier-free Brooklyn is more than just removing those physical barriers. It is removing those mental barriers that people believe that there's not a need for complete accessibility in this city. So I want to thank all of these students. They started out slow, but then they got there on their roll, and they just started giving us the information we needed as we start this dialogue. This is going to be a long conversation as we encourage them to get involved of exactly what needs to be done. Murrow is a shining example of accessibility. This is a great institution, and I am happy that the Chancellor Carranza is going to make some serious contributions and investments into the not only admission policy, but he's going to make a $750 million of new investments in our capital plan to ensure accessibility is at the forefront. Freedom of movement in Brooklyn is the core tenet of what makes all Brooklynites and New Yorkers feel as though they're part of the city. As we look and keep our eyes on the important conversation of disability in our community, my conversation is going to include this. We're going to continue to talk to students and young people and advocates and raise new advocates and partner and use these young people as part of the conversation and let them know that they are a voting bloc. You know, 1 million people self-identify as having some form of physical impairment. You know, this is an ET moment. You're not alone. Rally your troops and let all who run for office know you must be recognized and your issues must be addressed. The Free BK initiative is not groundbreaking. It's simply a call to action for greater accessibility in a quicker fashion to allow for our young people and other adults to fully participate in our society. In 2015, I was able to organize with advocates to improve accessibility at Brooklyn Borough Hall. We looked at our building and we participated with DCAS and say, how do we make our building more accessible? And we were able to come up with some clear issues that was making it inaccessible, and we immediately adopted and reimagined the borough, and we want the city to reimagine how, on all levels, it is making accessibility a top priority. You can't do this by living in your own bubble. You must go out and continue to give feedback, and that's what we're doing today. Last November, the MTA launched an eHail pilot to improve responsiveness and accessibility in its paratransit accessoride program. As it was just shared, it's a great program to be able to use Uber and yellow cabs, to not have to wait days before you can change how you use the traditional accessoride. And you know what's interesting? It's more cost effective. A recent one-year analysis found that on-demand eHail program costs $36 per ride on average, compared to an average of $69 for the same accessoride trip. That is a real win. It's more cost effective. It's a lot of greater level of creativity and spontaneity where you don't have to be fixed to the trucks that normally pick you up. You're using the same methodology that every other person who uses Uber, Lyft, and yellow cabs. It's a real win, as it was just shared by some of our young people here today. Investing in e-health we must view this as an investment in the city's mobility, an extension of the entire Accessible Ride program, and how we could do a better job. But it goes far beyond just looking at how someone moved to point A to point B. We must have a conversation of opening our parks. How do we allow our group of residents who are dealing with any form of impairment, living with any form of impairment, to be able to have access to the parks, to the playgrounds, to restaurants, to all that it encompasses to be part of the experience of being a New Yorker. This is our goal as we move forward as not only as Brooklynites, but as New Yorkers. And so I cannot thank these parents enough for seeing in their children what our city, if not country, have failed to see. And although we were slow, your dedication and commitment is giving us 2020 vision, that we will have a clear vision for the future. I'm committed to this issue. I'm dedicated to this issue. These young people has reignited my passion around this issue, and I cannot thank them enough. And every time they walk in the room, they're going to send one message. The champ is here. The champ is here. The champ is here. And so I want to call on a few of our speakers to assist us as we move along. I want to start first with the principal, who just really became extremely cooperative when we asked him, can we share his space and have this important, rich conversation. Principal Alan Barge.
Thank you, Borough President Adams. I would like to first welcome and thank our amazing students of Edward R. Murrow High School, so a big round of applause. They not only represent the Edward R. Murrow High School community, but they also represent a Brooklyn voice. And for them, I thank you. I thank you for your contributions, your dedication and commitment to change, and your contributions to instilling this change and moving forward and being the amazing people that you are. So again, a big round of applause for our amazing students. And of course, I would like to thank, and we are truly honored to have Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams here to engage in this conversation with our amazing students and for all that he does for the great borough of Brooklyn, in addition to our elected officials. So we can't thank you enough for all that you do. Thank you.
Thank you, and I know our councilman is running off to vote, so I want to really bring up a great advocate for this community, Councilman Carmen Yeager.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. You know, there's no stronger advocate in Brooklyn for our schools and for the needs of people who just need a little bit more help to get around than Eric Adams, and he's really been incredible. Murrow has a special place in my heart. Not many know it. Senator Felder probably knows this, and Borough President Adams knows this. I was on the community board for 18 years before I took office in the city council earlier this year. And my community board 14, meets on the first floor every other month. And I started my career in public service as a 19-year-old aide to a council member representing him in this building at community board meetings. So this is really, it's my home school for many reasons. Also, I vote here. Live just a couple of blocks away, and the train on Avenue M, that's my home subway station since I was a little kid. And when they did the renovations a couple years ago, it was not just an oversight, it was almost deliberate that they didn't make that an accessible station. There's no reason to revitalize a station with the many millions of dollars that they put into the Avenue M and East 16th Street station and not make it fully accessible. And we can't, as a government, tell people, get out of your cars, take public transportation, if we make public transportation such an exclusive system that it literally excludes so many of our New Yorkers. And that's really what this is about. And it's, you know, there are little dips and dabs of how we can do this, whether it's improving the MTA and improving our stations, but most importantly, as we're talking here, Accessoride. It's such an easy thing to fix. Today, we're about to go into 2019. Why are we still requiring people to use a system started 15, 20, 25 years ago about reserving your Accessoride buses, when we can simply, all of these kids have phones, all of our seniors have the ability to do this. Why aren't we using an e-hail app? When we know that it's half price. We know that we can make it cheaper, more efficient, more easy for people to get around. And it's just such a simple thing to do. And I think that's one of the most important things. You know, you'll learn a lot about Eric Adams when you talk to him and when you hear him speak. But one of the things you'll learn a lot about him is that, you know, he looks for efficiencies in government. He looks for ways to make government better. He looks for ways that we could make our community work better for everybody in the community. And that's why I'm so proud to be here with you, in your home borough, my home borough, just a couple of blocks away from my home, the great Murrow High School. Thank you very much, Borough President, for coming in.
Thank you. And I think it's important to hear from, you know, one of our important advocates, Stefan Henry, advocate from Brooklyn Center for Independence of the Disabled, a member of Accessoride e-hail pilot.
Guys, thank you, Murrow, for hosting this. Thank you, Borough President Eric Adams, for having us here as well. BCID loves to support any sort of meeting that would help the accessibility of the city, help people and young ones like this get around in the city. We strongly advocate for opening up the e-hail program and making sure that everyone who has a disability, physical or otherwise, is able to take this cab system and go wherever they need to go, whenever they need to go there. Thank you guys for your time.
And one of our great senators who's clearly a voice in Albany for this district and for the entire state, Senator Simcha Felder.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, I'm honored to be here with you this morning. You are the heroes and the heroines who are fighting to try to get what everybody deserves, which is a fair, easy way to go about your daily lives. And barrier-free BK, the hero, everyone may know that Borough President Adams was a hero as a police officer. But he's a hero to so many people and to all of us here today on this issue. So people living with a physical disability face daily challenges that they meet with strength, grit, and determination, and our support for them must be strong. Over the last few years, I have worked with Borough President Adams and my colleague, Councilmember Yeager, to secure millions of dollars in funding to bring the first completely accessible playground for all children in Brooklyn. I'm looking forward to a day in the near future when all New Yorkers, regardless of any disability, have equal access and the ability to navigate through our city without barriers. Living with a disability does not limit a person's potential, but limited access and insufficient support does. I am proud to stand with Borough President Adams today, and please give him a round of applause. Thank you. I'm proud and honored to stand with Borough President Adams today in support of barrier-free Brooklyn and join him in promoting great independence for all New Yorkers, regardless of ability. We are lucky to have a borough president who cares so deeply. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. So I think it's important to hear from the parents and the students. And first parent is Patricia Logan, a parent of a student here at Murrow, a child with disability. Patricia?
Thank you, Borough President.
Bring this down for you.
Thank you.
Since you're so tall.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. As a proud parent of a Murrow senior, and also a mother of 2 disabled children, I have dealt with making sure everything is accessible in the city for my kids, and it was always a challenge. Every time we wanted to go somewhere, we always had to say, is it going to be accessible? Is it accessible? Many times it was. We made sure it was. But now as she's getting older, our biggest challenge is being able to get around the city more. She would like to go to the city more. It's a bit of a challenge, just her and I. So if any more accessible subway stations is our big goal for us. That's something that we would really like to see happen in this city, because it is, one of the best cities, and we should have excessive train stations. That's one of our major things. Right, Grace? Right? That's what you want? Right, okay. But I want to thank everyone. I want to thank the Borough President for coming and thanking you for having even the parents speak. But thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. And Keith Prince, he's a Murrow, a parent of a Murrow student as well with disability. Keith? Thank you.
Hi, good morning. I am honored to be here to have an opportunity to speak. I have a son and a daughter, and I'm a parent of children with disabilities, and it's wonderful to see that Mr. Adams, President Adams, has taken the first step of a long journey, and it's going to be a very successful journey to bring not only the attention that these wonderful children require. As parents, administration for the school system, the paraprofessionals, we all prepare these children for the future. And President Adams, Mr. Adams, I would love to look you in the eyes and say thank you for preparing the future for these children.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we want to end up and conclude with hearing directly from our students, and I think no one really personified that more than Julian as he raised some of his concerns. And so Julian Prince. Julian? Yes, sir.
This is insanity. All right. All right, is this thing working?
Yes, it is.
Are we good? All right, we good. This whole Barrier Free Brooklyn thing, I think it's really, really cool that, we out here in Brooklyn, we're helping kids who are basically have, limited mobility. And, when I introduced this whole program for, accessibility, like, with gaming and all that stuff, I think it's really important that kids should be able to have fun no matter where they are, like in a park. And the fact that, they have this wall blocking them, and we're doing a lot to get rid of that wall. I don't think enough is being done. So this I think is really important to bring awareness to this issue. And, Mr. Adams is out here. I thank him for giving me the opportunity to speak and basically give us, what should I really say here? Like, he's basically saying that, we can do this. He's doing all he can to help us, and we all got to be grateful for that stuff. So, yeah. Thank you, Mr. Adams.
Thank you.
All right. It's all good.
Thank you. I think Julian's comment was so important. We can do this. We can do this on so many levels. And clearly, investing in e-health must be viewed, and we must view this as an investment in the city's mobility. And I'm looking forward to advancing legislation also that I have recently introduced with Council Member Diana Ayala, the chair of the Committee on Mental Health, Disability, and Addiction, that will allow accessorized vehicles to access to priority bus lanes. Right now, we don't allow that, and we think it's important that they should also be able to use priority bus lanes. As you saw, our young people talked about the express bus services. Those express bus services cannot be in a express mode of passing by those with some form of physical disability. So I spoke with these students and disability stakeholders today. It has become increasingly clear that mobility is especially important to young people as they are navigating not only New York City streets, but also their independence to become adults. We are in a good place because we have good advocates from these young people, and we're going to continue to listen to them and implement some of their changes and recommendations as they become part of team accessibility. I cannot thank you enough for allowing me to come here today and hear from you directly. Thank you, and we'll entertain any questions that you may have at this time. Yes?
Can you just sum up what exactly the plan seeks to do, the barrier-free Brooklyn? Just sum up the goal.
The overall goal is to really examine what are some of the barriers that don't allow those with any form of physical impairment or any disability from having a free access in the city. We've identified some very clear areas. Better accessibility on the transit system, utilizing, instead of the traditional system of accessoride, what is really antiquated, to allow particularly young people and adults to utilize the mobile app system. The city rolled it out in a pilot program. We're saying that 1 year has shown it is cost effective, it is better used. Let's now roll it out throughout the entire city. Compared to $36 a ride when you use the Uber and the Lyft and the app system, to $69 a ride when you use the slow methods of the accessoride. So our goal is to look at every area of the city, what is preventing people with disabilities to have full accessibility, and one of the biggest areas is having the independence of utilizing the app system to move around. Thank you. Hold on, we got one more question. Yes, our goal is my team is going to speak with young people throughout the city and have conversations with them, and really to mobilize them to become a movement. We think that these young people are extremely articulate, knowledgeable in this conversation, and we want to move throughout this borough and have them join up with each other. Oftentimes, when you're fighting these issues, you believe you are fighting alone. And we want to change that mindset and concept that there are other young people who are in other schools who would like to share this movement. This is a very important movement to ensure that our children can have movement as they enjoy this city. And so the goal is to link these students up with students across this borough and across this city that shares the same concern that they should have a barrier-free city, not only a barrier-free Brooklyn. Thank you very much.